Hi everyone, today we're going to go over how to graph a quadratic equation using a table. So sometimes you'll encounter equations like this where we have an x squared. Let me pull up my screen. We have an x squared up here. In this case, we can graph equations like these by making a table. We'll learn a lot more about these later on. These are called quadratic equations, but for now we're just going to be using a table. We're mostly concerned about what the graph looks like. Graphs where we have an x squared in the equation are called parabolas. So they're a U shape like this or this, and then they're facing either up or down. So to graph using a table, we can try different x values and plug those values into our equation to find what the corresponding y values are. So for x, for example, we could start with x equals 0. Then we'll write out the equation and plug in 0 for x, plus 2 times 0 plus 3. And so here we get 0 plus 0 plus 3, or 3. So 0, 3 is a point on our graph. So we have a point right here at about 0, 3. Okay. And we can repeat this process for different x values until we see this parabola shape show up. So when x is 1, we have y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 3. So notice here we have a negative, and then we have x squared. So the first thing we need to do is square the x, order of operations, and then we apply the negative. So 1 squared is 1, and then applying the negative gives us negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 plus 3 gives us 4. So 1, 4 is another point on our graph. 1, 4. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's try 2. So y equals negative 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 3. So again, we square the 2 first to get 4. Then we have negative 4 plus 4 plus 3. The 4's cancel out to give us 3 for y. So 2, 3 is another point. Okay, let's try a couple more out, 2 more points out. First, let's keep going to the right. Let's try out y equals 3. So y equals negative 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 3. So 3 squared is 9, so we have negative 9 plus 6 plus 3. So here we end up with 0. So 3, 0 is another point on our graph. And we'll try one more point, 0. Let's go to the left. Let's take a look. We started at 0, so let's take a look at negative 1. So y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 3. So negative 1 squared is positive 1. We have negative positive 1 plus 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 3. In other words, we have negative 1 minus 2 plus 3. So y is 0 when x is negative 1. So finally, negative 1, 0 is another point on our graph. And then we see this U shape start to form, so we can connect these points like this. And this is what our graph looks like for this equation that we started out with up here, negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. So when we're asked to graph an equation that we're unsure about how to graph, or we haven't learned about yet, we can always make a table, try out different x values, see what y values we get, and then plot those on a graph and connect them using a line or a curve.